Hello, welcome to the May 2013 Energy Reading. My name is Adrienne Elise, and I'm founder of the Intuitive Empowerment Institute, and you can find out more about that at intuitiveempowerment.com. Well, May is an exciting month of astrology, and it really centers around this exact Pluto-Uranus square, which is the aspect that's flavoring this whole 3-4 time period we're in, the 2012 astrology. And because these are big, slow-moving planets that go retrograde, they're crossing over each other or in this square 7 times. And this is like the 7 major chakras. And so this is the third exact aspect. And so we're looking at the third chakra, which is the personal power chakra. So we're kind of looking at in our personal life what these changes are starting to mean. We're starting to see this shakedown that's happening on the geopolitical sphere. Is also happening. We're seeing how that's actually also happening in our own individual life. This is also highlighted with the Saturn retrograde. Saturn, the planet of work, duty, structures of our life, and in Scorpio. And so it's calling us to review where in our life our structures are in alignment with our deepest truth. And so that's really hits home with this third chakra energy. This, where is these deep changes, these structural, this revolutionary change that's trying to happen in our world? What's that mean in my own personal life? And we have quite a few personal planet or the personal planets. We've seen them. They were with the sun, and they were all in Pisces, and then they all moved into Aries, and then now they're all in Taurus. And so we have a whole bunch of really great Earth energy in the first part of this month to start really plotting forward, seeing what has been going on in our inner landscape, and it's starting to make sense and being able to point in the direction we want to go. And this is highlighted on the new moon around the 9th. And new moon is always a great time to start things, but this one particularly because we have this earth energy of manifesting, of being able to bring into your world a very practical kind of showing of your inner work that you've been doing. And so it's a great time to really make a commitment. So you've been thinking about what you want to do in your life or have in your life, and you've been dreaming about it and visualizing, but now is the time to really commit to action. And that feels so good, to feel like you're moving in the direction that you want to go. And it is definitely a good time for that. And just maybe committing to one practical way you can start to bring that forward. And that's a relief from all of these changes, this energy that we've been going through, and feeling like it's kind of for a reason. So great time for that. Now, these personal planets are doing quite a dance this month, and there have aspects with 4 major planets. And this is Venus and Mercury are kind of close together and dancing around and having quite an experience. Venus, our planet of love, and Mercury, our planet of communication. And so first they come into, at the beginning of the month, an exact opposition with Saturn. And so Saturn being retrograde in Scorpio, and we just crossed that midpoint of that retrograde. This is really kind of highlighting that energy, bringing it up to the surface, and it's in a very personal way, And so there's a lot of shakedown happening with this Pluto-Uranus square and the Saturn retrograde in people's lives. There's a lot of changes going on, a lot of unexpected things. And so it's a really great time to just try to step back and get perspective, and try not to get too attached to the daily drama that's going on, and just try to be an observer, because there's a lot that's happening right now. And it's almost like we're forced to just step back and be like, whoa, this is so incredulous. It's like watching a movie, And if you can get to that place throughout these changes that are happening in our personal life, it's gonna it's gonna be easier to get off that sinking ship. These structures that are trying to change, we as humans are very attached to the status quo, and so we'll just hold on to dear life, to what we know is what we're used to. And the whole world right now is just, that's not the energy. It's about breaking down, getting rid of what's no longer working, shifting and changing our life. And so if you can kind of dance and play with that energy, rather than holding on so tight to the status quo, you'll be better off, and you can kind of dance and play rather than be knocked down. And so go ahead and get off that sinking ship and sing and play with the dolphins. So after, in about the middle of the month, these personal planets come into square with Neptune, and Neptune's home in Pisces, and so it's a very powerful energy around our spiritual landscape, um, our the spiritual truths, this collective energy, the oneness, and there's a lot of energy of moving us into this oneness feeling, but the square has a lot of tension, and so it's our personal planets kind of coming up against this bigger spiritual vision, and it's energy that is asking us to incorporate this bigger spiritual vision into these changes that are happening in our life. It's interesting though, because as we come into more of an image of oneness and seeing that we're all connected, we have to look at the parts of humanity that we don't necessarily like, and these are starting to come to the surface, like the violence that has been happening and things like that. And it's a really great opportunity to uh, decide whether we want to identify in our personality, in ourself with that, or whether we want to um, decide that we want to do it a different way. And so there's this great energy about getting out of victimhood. And this is highlighted by the next aspect that Venus and Mercury have, and that's a square with Chiron. And Chiron is the wounded healer, so it's just this energy around the deepest wounds that we have. And of course, that kind of it goes back again, comparing the energy with the Saturn in Scorpio energy retrograde. And so, with this Chiron aspect, it's an opportunity to decide whether we are victims of our reality or creators of our reality, and just healing those deepest inner psychic wounds that make us feel like a victim. And this is a really great opportunity to disidentify with the energies around us. And with Uranus, the awakener, being in Aries, we talk about this revolution of the self that's happening. And in that revolution of the self, it's an opportunity to say, I am not my violent past. I am not my trauma and drama. Those are experiences I went through, but they don't define me. And also allowing yourself to separate from the definitions and the identity that comes across through the media, society, your family, and say, and come into your own truth about yourself, and cease being defined by the forces around you, particularly like the media that wants to feed us these violent images and keep us in fear, um, and trauma and drama. So really great energy, even though it's got that tension to it. It's kind of just a great opportunity to just decide that that's no longer, what's true in your world, and letting go of the victim. So the last aspect that happens at the end of the month is a conjunction with Jupiter, these two planets, and this is way kind of more harmonious energy. And so by the end of the month, we're going to just have this beautiful magic time as we have a culmination or a completion kind of energy coming with some cycles that have been going on, because as these come into conjunction with Jupiter as our expansive visionary planet, and it's just like, oh, that opportunity. Oh, now I can sit back and realize why I've been going through all of this, and start to really have it make sense, and then really be able to see the big picture and expand that view. And with Venus being a part of it, it's this love and this opportunity to just open our heart to our experience, and feel a lot more validated in the bigger picture and why this is all going down. And so if you can, like what I said, just be able to step back and try to be more of an observer in your experience as we get to the end of the month, it's going to just feel like a big breath of expansion, and kind of like, oh, this is why this is happening, and feel like, oh, okay, now I'm starting to see it, and I can move forward, and I can see that I can take this inner work I've been doing and really make these great practical changes in my life, and lean into these my new world and my new life, my new creation. And so we're in an eclipse cycle. There's 3 eclipses usually come in a row, and we had one at the full moon last month, and now we're going to have one in the new moon on the 9th, and then there's one on the full moon later in the month on the 24th. And this is a solar eclipse on the new moon, and this new moon in Taurus is a great opportunity to start to put into practical action what you have been going through, and really, like we said, commit to changes. Now the eclipses are about revealing what needs to be revealed, and so it's also a really magical time to receive messages, images, direction, meeting the right people, synchronicities. The whole month just has a lot of magic for, a lot of energy for magic and miracles. And so just stay open to that. And if you can kind of focus on that, keep perspective, be that neutral observer, and be open to the magic, it's going to make this time a lot easier and more joyful. And so the full moon is in um, is in Sagittarius. And so that's highlighting that conjunction of the personal planets we were having with Jupiter too, which happens shortly after the full moon. So this real expansiveness, and a feeling of like that perspective energy, with the lunar eclipse. And so more of that being revealed and what your role is and your place in this bigger picture, and the bigger picture of your life. And so really great energy for that. And the personal planets move into Gemini, around start to in the middle of the month. So we're going to start having a shift. And Gemini is a sign of, the it's our duality within ourselves, but it's also like it's the home of Mercury, the ruler, is the planet of communication. And so there's going to be a lot of opportunity for networking, meeting people, having information, talking a lot about your ideas, these expansive ideas. And so it's a very exciting time of being able to really visualize and see, and start to bring these ideas down into this plane, into this 3D reality, that you've been creating. And so that's going to be really beautiful. And so just enjoy this energy at the beginning of the month, beautiful Taurus energy, great time for love, self-care, nurturing. Remember that that's what gets you through all these changes. So just continue to love yourself and try to step back and just enjoy. And I love you. Namaste.